Okay, greetings everybody. Checking and make sure everything's going right. It looks like we're up there. We're up there and we're up there. All right, and everybody knows the usual course. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Get this message out there. Anybody on the Facebook page or anywhere else, the StreamYard link should show up. If it doesn't, go ahead and click on the video itself. And it should bring you to the YouTube page, and the StreamYard link is pinned there. Anybody that feels well enough to share some love through the PayPal link, trying to get a new laptop or get the laptop fixed, not necessarily a new laptop, but either a new keyboard or something. Got keys falling off and a new pair of glasses. So anybody that can share some love, greatly appreciated. The PayPal link's down there. And what we're going to talk about tonight is this immigration crisis that they're calling it. Okay. Now, this is directly in accordance with one's right to travel, as we've been trying to express for numbers of years, decades, if not, without a whole lot of success. There are case laws on it. We're getting better at it. And what I want to do is that I want to expand that onto the international level, because what's happening here is, again, a violation of one's right to travel. Okay, by putting up the fictional borders and everything, what they're doing is they're creating this dementia type world where people believe that they have to have some kind of documentation in order to pass that border. And again, in the 1611 King James Version of the Bible, Psalms 121 verse 8, it says, "The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore." And that time is, in beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And that started in Jeremiah 1:5. That verse, of course, was John 1:1. And then Jeremiah 1:5, it says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee." This is the time when he wrote his word on our heart, before he even formed us in the belly. And then, before thou was cast from the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations, bringing full circle that preservation of the going out and the coming in all processes, in thought, in physicality, being cast forth from your mother's waters and being discharged as a man, whereupon a memorial of a legacy heir is supposed to be heralded. Think about this stuff, people, and realize you've been deeply duped into believing shit that just isn't real. And so what we're going to look at tonight is the Constitution of the Universal Postal Union. Now, when we talk about the Congress here in the United States, or in the United States, or United States of America, whatever fiction you want to believe, that Congress is subject to the Postal Congress, wherein all things are posted. And it's called the International Bureau. And it starts at the municipal level, at the local hospital, in the prenatal records, where there's a baby expected. They don't even know whether it's a boy or girl yet. They just know mom thinks she's pregnant, so let's go to the doctor and find out. Whereas if you have patience and just let nature take its course, you will know. And you will know whether that baby is a baby girl or a baby boy when it comes out. And then upon that time, then you will know which name to give it, that you've been inspired to do so, whether it be a male or a female or a boy or a girl. That's the process, and you're all missing it. So think about this. And when it comes to the migrants again, sojourners across the lands, Leviticus 25, verse 23, "The land shall not be sold forever, for it is mine, and ye are strangers and sojourners with me." 24, "In all of the lands of your possession, ye shall grant a redemption to the land." 25, "If your brother be waxen and poor, and you can give him that redemption, you do so." So when it comes to this immigration thing, and you got the knowledge of being a redeemer, you're supposed to redeem them. Okay? And you redeem them by being a prophet unto the nations and speaking loudly and heralding that word and letting them know you're not deceived. And you're putting that message out there. And the people that know that message to be true will know it to be true. And I'm telling you, don't believe me. So don't believe it to be true. Do your own research so you can find out and know for yourself. Then you have a responsibility to speak up as well. So pay attention. And if you don't want to speak up, then turn the fucking thing off and go somewhere else. So, number 8844, Universal Postal Union. This is one of their International Bureau documents. Universal Postal Union, Constitution of the Universal Postal Union with final protocol and annexes. What those are is each country that comes into the union has this as an open offer. This is their open offer to contract. And as they join the union, that's an annexation. And those protocols are accepted by amendment. So each nation can make their own amendments to this open offer. Okay? As long as they're fair, conscious, and righteous, good to go. So, signed at Vienna on July 10th, 1964. Registered by Austria and Switzerland on 1st of December, 1961. Funny how Switzerland, or 1967, Switzerland, 1967. You know, it's now going by the Swiss franc for the weights and measure system instead of the French franc because the official text was in French. Okay. In December 67, they switched. Universal Postal Universelle, the French. See? Text official Française. So they do this one in English, and then they show the original in French. Much like Common Plants of the Rocky Boys reservations, except they did it backwards. In theirs, they put their stuff in the first language, their language, and then translated into English. So let's go down and read this. This Constitution of Universal Postal Union, signed in 1964, Preamble. With a view to developing communications between peoples by the efficient operation of the postal services. With a view to developing communications between peoples by the efficient operation of the postal services. Each nation has its own postal service, and the communication is done by that. So if you have a communication, a conversation, a message, a conveyance of literature or arts or something like that in one of these audio, literary, or video routings, that's done through the postal services. Like I said, the internet is run by the Postal Service. Okay. And to contributing to the attainment of the noble aims of international collaboration in the cultural homage. Cult means homage. Cultural, social, and economic fields. Homage, home. We are in this world, not of this world. Our home is the heavens, the spiritual presence. The plenipotentiaries of the governments of the contracting countries have, subject to ratification, adopted this Constitution. So you start out adopting it. So what you do is it's an open offer, like I said. It's an open offer to contract, just like they said, contracting countries. And so what they do is they put it out there as an offer. You can adopt it, take it into your hands, and take care of it. In that taking care of it, you can amend it. You can dress it your own way. It's called addressing. Okay? You thinking about this now? And what you're going to do is you're going to post on it by line item vetoing things that you don't adopt or adopt and want to amend. And the ones that you want to adopt and amend, you strike through, line item veto, and then overwrite it, not underwrite it, overwrite it. So you write the correction over top. Section 1, organic provisions. Organic material is something that contains hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. That means you, yourselves, living beings, people, as it mentioned earlier. Chapter 1, article, or Chapter 1, general. Article. Okay, what's that mean? Gene. Your genes. Yours. Not somebody else's. Yours. Row. Rule. Rail. Railroad. Rule road. Postal roads. Those are the roads that carry the communications. They're also ruled. Okay? This is gene rule. What rules you? The organic provision. Providence of grace. That's what provides for you. His favor and its homage. Scope and objectives of the Union. A very important term there. Constitution of the Universal Postal Union, right? Constitution of the United States, consequently, is to form a more perfect union. The countries adopting this Constitution comprise, with prize, with awards, contract awards, under the title of the Universal Postal Union, the title. So if that's the International Bureau, where do you suppose all titles are held? Do you suppose it's with the Vatican? Do you suppose it's with the Queen or the King now? No, it's with the Director General. Director General. Think about the words and terms of being played here, folks. Under the title of the Universal Postal Union, a single postal territory. It is not a money monopoly. It is a postal monopoly. Read 18 U.S.C. 8. We'll do that when we're done. For the reciprocal exchange out of change or without change. Reciprocal change. You can't change it. They're supposed to be of like kind. So it's supposed to be reciprocal. Of letter post items. Again, it's contract terms and conditions, so it's items. And it's letter and it's post. That's very different from manifest, article, dispatch. Dispatch. When you put a stamp on an envelope, is that not just like putting a patch on that shirt? You know, like that badge. Freedom of transit is guaranteed throughout the entire territory of the Union. So why are they restricting the immigrants? Is it because they classify the immigrants in personage? Do those immigrants have an identification? Do you suppose they're going to have them identify when they get across that border? When they go through that transit center? Those are transit centers. Ask them. Ask the immigration officials if they're allowing immigrants to pass through the transit centers. Yep. Ask them if that's where they're working right now. Ask them if they're working at the transit center. Well, no, I'm over here, but yeah, well, I'm familiar with the transit center you're talking about over here on Highway 57 or whatever. Yeah. That's what they're called, transit centers. So why are they making merchandise of the children of Israel? Oh, because they're doing it voluntarily. They didn't steal them and then make merchandise of them. That's not kidnapping. But if they volunteer just like the rest of the fucking American slaves did, that's not kidnapping. Get it? So let's look at 18 USC 8. This one here is obligation and other securities of the United States. Defined, of course. The term obligation or other security of the United States includes all bonds. You suppose they're creating some sort, so you can sort through classification like you sort through laundry, just a different form of application, a different form of identification on the other end. It's still an identification process. Okay, so it includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness, national bank currency, not central bank currency, federal, which we don't have national currency. In the United States of America, there's no national currency. It's a central bank currency, Federal Reserve notes. Federal Reserve bank notes, coupons, United States notes. What is a note? It's an order to pay. Or excuse me, a promise. It's a promise to pay if it's a note. It's an order if it's a draft. Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks, or drafts for money, drawn by or upon authorized officers of the United States. Stamps and other representatives of value. Notice that's comma. Stamps and other representatives of value, including the weights and measures values. So you can tell them to screw off with their weights and measures of the Swiss franc or the French franc or any kind of franc, Caesar's franc, because the weight is how you coin your words. The weight is the word of God. How much does that weigh? A feather, maybe? So what is the representative of value that you're putting forth right from the start when you take up that open offer? Of whatever denomination, as in nom de guerre, so it could be in the surname of Israel even, issued under any act of Congress and canceled United States stamps. And this code was issued under an act of Congress, who shall lay and collect taxes, duties, and imposts. And by the way, when you go down to buy them United States stamps, do you use Federal Reserve notes to do that? Is that an exchange of like kind? One piece of paper for another piece of paper? Why can't you just put that $1 bill on that envelope? You can. Depends on how you use it. Tape a $1 bill right to that envelope. Get a nice big yellow envelope you need to send off. Put a $1 bill right on top of it. Tape it right over across the top of it. Use some plastic. Tape it right across the top. I don't know. Post office is the one that's got to manage it. Manage. Okay, it's their responsibility, right? Let them do the exchange, right? So, let me get to the chat and see what's going on here. I want to first welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button real quick before anything else happens. Dick, Chuck in Tennessee, Enslaved by Truth, good to see you. Iman El Bay, Ehrlich, 5-Speed, good to see you. Witness, who else? Looks like that's all that shows up right now. But anybody else that's there, thank you kindly. Let's see here, the PayPal link I'm going to drop again real quick just in case anybody wants to share some love. Could always use some help for some new pair of glasses and a new laptop keyboard or something, get it fixed. And anybody that wants to join the panel, the StreamYard is linked. Harry Nutt, great to see you. Manila envelope originates from Manila hemp, correct. Also realize Enslaved by Truth, that's a postal product too. Even if you buy it at the Walmart or at the local convenience store, that envelope is a postal product along with their postal services. So there's a difference between that, like I said, and the manifest article dispatch. That's a manifold situation where you take and you create your own instrument, we'll call it, and you just trifold it. And then you use one of your homemade stamps as a seal, another one as a stamp on the outside. And before you close it up and seal it, you've got your message inside, and you use another one as a private message to your fellow who's receiving it on the other end, and you sign it and date it. That way he knows when you wrote it, when he received it. Discog, yes, thank you. All glory goes to him, folks. All right, and since we don't have anybody to join on panel, I did not intend this to be a very long one. I just wanted to get this out there so you guys understand what's going on with this immigration crisis. It's all fiction, and like I said a few times on a couple panels here, they're coming up with a new deal. You remember 1930s? They had the New Deal. They come out with Social Security Act and the Reconstruction Acts and all this, rebuilding the infrastructure and all that. And, everybody started signing up for selective service and this and that. And oh my gosh, they're doing it again, but they're running out of slaves. The slaves here in America are learning, and we're not doing those kind of things. So they're getting people outside the country that don't know this yet. And the people that are walking them trails and aren't on these devices and stuff are very poor and stuff. They're coming across those borders as immigrants. They don't know a lot of this stuff, and they're handing that information over thousands at a time, 10,000 at a time, every day now. So they're getting 10,000s of new slaves every day through that border. Think about that, folks. That's all that's happening, and we need to spread this word. They're our brothers and neighbors, and we're supposed to love them as ourselves. It's not them violating anything. They have the right to cross in borders just like you do. And if you think you have to go get that passport so you can leave this country, you're the slave. You're the slave. They didn't need a passport to leave. Remember that. They're here under some kind of amnesty, and that's what it's all about. Yet this amnesty that they're here under, the United States, through their immigration laws, is making slaves of them. This is being duped into that 14th Amendment and all the writings and everything everybody believes applies to them. That Constitution doesn't apply to you. It applies to the people that indentured themselves to it. It's a contract, just like a Universal Postal Union and its contract. It's an open offer to the world. You can accept that as yourself and qualify just the one thing. Freedom of transit is guaranteed throughout the entire territory of the Union. Why? Because the Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth henceforth and even forevermore, because you're transient with him, a stranger and a sojourner with him in his lands, which shall never be sold forever. And because he is your redeemer, you fear not. He has called you by his name, and you are his. And therefore you too are a redeemer, both to the land and to your brothers and sisters. Wake up. Anyway, have a good night. God bless. Love y'all. But remember, I don't give a fuck whether you love me back or not. The most inherent thing that we need to get out there is the truth. And the people that like me because I tell the truth. The people that don't like me because I tell them the truth. So that's all on you two. Have a good night.